Why Rain World has the best UI or best AI? Sorry. Yeah, I've never played Chrono Trigger, man.
The topic of AI, apparently, I want to talk about the best AI that I've personally ever seen in a game. Because at the end of my last video, I showed a clip that really didn't do it justice. This clip is from a game called Rain World, which actually has some of the most incredible AI I've ever seen in any game. And I sort of just threw it under the bus. So to make sure that it gets the credit it deserves, I want to talk about how Rain World has some of the best AI in the business. Basically, I'm just going to sit and praise Rain World for an entire video again. Oh, and obviously there's going to be spoilers for Rain World. Keep that in mind. Now, Rain World's AI certainly isn't the most complex AI out there. There's definitely AI that is way more technically complicated. But Rain World's AI, in my opinion, is by far the most impressive. The way Rain World achieves such incredible AI is by coding simple behaviors and interactions that cause more complex behaviors to emerge. Similar to what we talked about in the last video with games like Fear and Half-Life. A lot of these intricacies will go unnoticed by the overwhelming majority of players, but they're in the game anyway. And they're there to try and make the world feel as realistic as possible. The game is supposed to represent an ecosystem with a functioning food chain, so a lot of these details help sell that fantasy in a really big way. For example, these are lizards. They are Rain World's most common enemy type, and they come in a whole bunch of different flavors marked by the
kind of reminds me of Metroid in a weird way.
Color of their head. And the different flavors of lizards all have different behaviors, abilities, and personalities. Some lizards are territorial, and they'll fight each other if they feel threatened by each other's
goddamn horror game
presence. But they will also fight each other over food. Food, such as you, the slug cat. So if you're caught by a lizard, you're not necessarily instantly dead, which means that you can just sit and watch the lizard try and carry you away to its den. And if you're lucky, another lizard will come along and fight over you, causing the lizard to drop you and allow you to escape. And this behavior emerges purely because the lizards will fight over food. But not all of the lizards will do this. Each lizard type has different behavioral attributes. They have different levels of aggression and different abilities, and they'll react differently to the player and to threats like vultures. And by far the smartest lizard type is the yellow lizard. Or at least the wiki calls them yellow, because they're clearly orange, but yellow it is. Yellow lizards hunt in packs, and if one of the lizards sees you, all of the yellow lizards in the room will immediately know your location. The justification for this in-game is that they can communicate with each other with these antennae on their heads. And the lizards will try and flank you to prevent you from escaping. When one comes from the front, the others will try and come up from behind you. And this is exclusive to the yellow lizards. None of the other lizards exhibit this behavior. But what's even harder to spot is that yellow lizard packs actually have an alpha pack leader. The one with the longest antenna is the pack leader. And if you kill this pack leader, suddenly all of the other lizards become uncoordinated and start aimlessly chasing you just like any of the other lizards might. And this is such a tiny detail that would go unnoticed by most players, but it helps sell the fantasy of a bustling ecosystem so well. My personal favourite lizards are the cyan lizards, better known as leap lizards. Can you tell where they get the name from? They pretty much only spawn when you're playing as Hunter, the hard mode version of the game. Their AI is basically identical to another type of lizard, the blue lizard. The only thing that distinguishes the two AIs is that the leap lizard has unique pathfinding to allow it to jump around. But there's a small detail about their AI that I absolutely love that probably goes unnoticed a lot by players. And quite frankly, I'm not even sure if it's intentional or not from the devs. And that is that leap lizards sometimes do stuff like this.
Yeah, the animation's really good.
They make mistakes. They mess up sometimes, just like a real animal might. But their volatile movement makes these mistakes way more fatal. And I think that this is such a good touch to the enemy. Every creature in Rain World exhibits this sort of thing to a degree. They'll make mistakes, they'll miss you when they try and lunge at you, they'll fall off of stuff. But I think it's so cool that the hard mode exclusive enemy that's crazy fast still kept the ability to make mistakes. A lesser developer might have been tempted to make the leap lizard completely flawless to make the game tougher during a Hunter playthrough. But they instead allowed moments like this to occur. And I just think that that's genius. I could sit and talk about the lizards in this game all day, but for the sake of a shorter video, let's talk about something a bit more broad that Rain World does so well. A big selling point of Rain World is that the game isn't really about you. The game chugs along even when you aren't witnessing it. And a big part of the way they pull this effect off is with the AI. The AI in Rain World is constantly active, even if it isn't on the screen. It is always being simulated in the area that you're in. This means that it's very common that you will enter a room and there will already be some sort of skirmish taking place.
That's kind of
A
cool.
bunch of lizards fighting, or a vulture trying to take something away.
That
You
also
can
means,
just
like,
stumble
replay
upon
value
these
is really
events
high.
all the time, and they're completely unscripted. It is just the AI of the creatures interacting with each other based off of how they're supposed to behave. And even if you never went into that room, those situations would still be simulated just in case. Not only that, but even the animation itself is handled by the AI. Ever wondered why the animation in Rainworld looks so unique? This style of animation is called procedural animation, and to explain that, I'm gonna need to talk about Mario for a sec. Look, just
Yeah, I've
trust
played
me, it
through
is
Hollow
relevant,
Knight.
I promise. When Mario
played through
jumps, he does a little animation that looks something like this. This little movie pause is hand animated by the animators, and every single time you press the jump button, he does this exact animation. And this is how most animation is typically done. But Rainworld's animation is handled very differently. Instead of having handmade animations for every action that the player or an enemy might do, instead, the animation is dictated by code. So basically, when the player or the AI tries to do something, the game's code responds by making the model on screen move in a context-specific way. So when the AI makes a decision, it doesn't just play a set of animations that allow it to move from point A to point B. Instead, the code moves the on-screen sprite in the most efficient way possible.
We need to play Ori in the Blind Forest. I saw it and my brain was like, oh my god, that looks so good.
To allow it to move how it's meant to. Every creature in the game has certain parameters that dictate how this is pulled off. For example, these are daddy longlegs, and they can only move when their tentacles are in contact with a surface, and it moves faster or slower based on how many tentacles it has touching surrounding surfaces at any given time.
So creepy.
So code
That's
behind
so
the
fucking
scenes
creepy.
tells the creature's tentacles to grab onto
I hate spiders,
surfaces
by the way.
nearby in such a way that allows it to move from point A to point B. And every creature in the game has similar interactions happening behind the scenes. Although I will say that this form of animation isn't perfect. It does sometimes cause this weird stuff to happen, like in the end clip of that last video. Also, this one time, I don't know what I did, but somehow I managed to, like, break Slugcat's face. Like, I broke his, look at his face, I broke
Nice.
his
He's
face.
so cute.
But 99% of the time, it looks way better than it would if it was hand animated. This animation style makes the creatures in Rainworld seem far more organic than they would appear otherwise. This means that the animation and the AI are directly linked to each other, and where
you
an
ever
enemy decides
do
to put its legs when it moves
AI
is entirely
generated
dependent
animation,
on the
Panda?
environment that the enemy is in. The AI directly controls the rig of the model, creating extremely smooth movement for every creature in the game, including the player character. But for as much praise as I can throw at this game, Rainworld's AI isn't perfect. As impressive as it is 90% of the time, there are certain creatures that don't perform nearly as well most of the time. These are reindeer, and they are exceptionally stupid. For some reason, they just sometimes can't figure out how to stand up, or they'll get confused trying to walk, and it suddenly breaks the otherwise incredible immersion that the game has usually. So when this guy just starts jiving for no reason, suddenly the game doesn't feel so realistic anymore. Another one of these for me is the Miros birds. They just sprint across certain areas of the world looking for food, but sometimes they just sorta get stuck, and they stand there, and they literally never move. Because they're stupid. It's also not a coincidence that the most frustrating AI bugs in the game come from these creatures. Creatures that, when their AI does bug out, can completely prevent you from progressing through the game in a way that no other creature in the game really can. An otherwise flawless example of AI done right is tainted by certain enemies and AI that are just way too stupid.
See, when I see this or when I hear these problems, you know what my brain goes? It doesn't go, oh, wow, that's great, that's awesome, you know. AI isn't as good as I think it is, and people will always be, like, amazing. My brain goes, wow, AI is already so good, it only has a few mistakes. God, dude, the future is looking crazy. Can you imagine what it's gonna be like in 10 years? Can you imagine 10 years from now? I'm genuinely excited and worried at the same time. I'm worried and excited. I'm like, man, what is the next Mario game gonna be AI generated? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how's it gonna go? How are we gonna go down this path? I feel like we're gonna move from being people who make things with like art and stuff to being like people who engineer AI, and AI will just be what everyone does. We all work on AI only. We put art assets in the AI, give it ideas, feed it ideas, and then it makes stuff for us. It's gonna be. That's the path we're going down at high speed right now.
To be in the same game as everything else. But the most impressive AI that the game has to offer certainly makes up for these flaws, in my opinion. Scavengers, in my opinion.
Let's be real. The mustache on Mario has a chance of disappearing now. Let's be honest. Okay, game glitches like that happen all the time, regardless.
Are the most incredibly implemented AI in any game ever made. They are the crown jewel of Rainworld's AI design. Scavengers are human-like creatures that hunt in packs and use tools. The scavengers are meant to be an analogue for the player character. They possess most of the abilities that the player does. They can throw stuff, they can climb poles, and they fight enemies in basically the exact same way as you.
Mario
and they're meant to appear just as intelligent as the player is too. And to make an AI appear as intelligent as a human player is a really difficult task. But honestly, I actually do think they delivered. So where do we start? Well, the scavengers have a complex communication system that will mostly go unnoticed by new players. They make gestures and facial expressions based on their mood and their feelings towards the player or to enemies. I'll just list a few here. Before actually attacking an enemy or a player, they hold their spears up as a threat to back off. They point their spears at threats such as lizards, vultures, and sometimes the player.
Well, that's kinda
their
cool.
eyes widen when they're afraid, and they even touch spears with scavengers or players when they're friends. There's a lot more of these, varying in how obvious they are to spot in-game. But it makes the scavengers feel extremely intelligent, and simultaneously allows the player to know what they're thinking at any given time. But you may have noticed that sometimes they see the player as a threat.
Oh my god!
But sometimes they're friends. Well, the scavengers also have a complex reputation system. If the player kills a scavenger, the other scavengers take note and they see you as a threat. The more you kill, the more of a threat you become. Having a bad reputation to scavengers makes them hostile towards you whenever you encounter them. But eventually, you become so threatening to the scavengers that they will actively seek you out, sending kill squads to your general location to try and eliminate you. However,
wait, so does that mean you can just become their friends and not attack them? I don't understand.
You can also gain favor with the scavengers. If the scavengers are fighting an enemy, you can come along and help them fight. If you do this, they will notice and they begin to like you for it.
Oh, that's cool. So you can like choose to not. That's kind of sick.
If they're fighting a creature and they notice you not helping, it can actually decrease your reputation with the scavengers. Another way to gain good reputation with scavengers is through trading. Scavengers find certain items valuable, and giving them valuable items will make them like you. The item they value the most is pearls. If you give a scavenger your pearl, it will make them like you, and they'll even give you weapons in return for it. Scavengers even have tolls set up around the world. The scavenger tribe will stay near the toll at all times. If you give them a pearl, they'll let you pass without a fuss. They even have unique gestures to let you know that you're allowed to pass through, and if you try and pass through without paying the toll, they will kill you. Trying to bypass tolls makes your reputation go down, and repeatedly paying for them makes your reputation go up. If your reputation's high enough, scavengers will sometimes follow you around and help you fight enemies, but you can lose this reputation quite easily if you're aggressive towards them. Scavengers also have stockpiles of weapons near certain parts of the world. They even craft explosive weapons that can't be acquired in any way outside of taking them from scavengers. Scavengers that have never seen you before will generally be neutral, but if you make too many sudden movements or run towards them while holding a weapon, they will attack you to defend themselves. Scavengers even have their own unique personalities. Some scavengers are more aggressive than other ones, so that even when you've befriended scavengers, some of them are just assholes and they'll throw rocks at you out of annoyance. This also makes some scavengers quicker to befriend than others. Scavengers can be found in almost every area of the game, and their equipment varies based on which area you find them in, like how they carry around lanterns in dark areas. All of these behaviors and interactions add up to make a creature that feels so organic and real that it's hard to believe such a small indie game was able to pull it off so successfully. And all of these little details in the game add up to make a 2D pixel art environment somehow feel more realistic than most AAA games. If there's anything particularly interesting that you think I missed,
love hard
please
games.
do let me know in the comments. And I'm very sorry that I used reindeer
fun.
for a cheap joke at the end of my last video, because in reality...
How many puzzles are there, though? Is this a puzzle game? Is this a puzzle game? I swear to God.
Rainworld has the best AI in the business, and I could sit and talk about it for hours. Thanks for watching.
That was a damn good video. I also have never heard of this creator. So thank you for introducing me. why Rain World has the best AI. Thank you so much for that. That was good. I like that.